Okay, I'm Dolores Cannon, and I'm a hypnotherapist. I have been doing hypnosis for 40 years, and I've been doing past life therapy and past life regression for 30 years. And I've been involved in the UFO phenomena for 20. So I've been doing a lot of research, and I've done thousands and thousands of cases and thousands of clients. So this has resulted in my writing 15 books about the work that I have discovered and all the information I've come across. Not only past lives, but also the UFO phenomena. And I've come up with theories that no one else has found, because mine is always positive anyway, had nothing to do with the negativity. But I have found the answers to why they're coming and why they are here and why they are doing all of the things to the people. And it's not negative the way some people think. Once you understand the phenomena and understand why they are doing what they're doing, it makes sense and it becomes very clear. Because a lot of the clients I have say once they find out the real reason behind it, they say, I can live with that. It makes sense and it's not negative. So I'm here for this Congress because I'm a speaker, but I have been coming to this Congress, I think 11 years now I've been speaking here. And every time I get a new book, they ask me to come back and talk about that. So I've gone from the UFO phenomena, it began to expand into metaphysics that was very complicated metaphysics. So that's why after the book, I've written 4 books on UFOs, but the main one that chronicles my 20 years of research is called The Custodians. But that began to go away from UFOs into more metaphysical information. And when that happened, I began the series called The Convoluted Universe. It's now in the 3rd volume, has just come off the press, of The Convoluted Universe. And I say those are books for people who want their minds bent like pretzels, because they go off into a totally different way of looking at things, new theories that defy the imagination. And by the 3rd volume, I mean, the brain is really twisted around. But people say, even if they don't understand these theories and ideas, it makes them think. And we're beginning to understand a little bit more about where the ETs and the UFO phenomena is coming from. It's not simple anymore. It's very complicated. Those that try to keep it as a simple, ETs on UFOs, it's gone way beyond that. There's other dimensions, there's a whole other metaphysical part that they don't understand. John Mack once said, the only way to understand the UFO phenomena is to understand metaphysics. There's no way of separating the two. They go together and intermingle. So you're not going to be able to keep them apart. You've got to understand metaphysics, and it goes very close to quantum physics. A lot more involved here than the average person knows. Well, I was involved in normal hypnosis in the 1960s, which was 40 years ago. And then it was just all the very simple things, stop smoking, lose weight. And in those days, I stumbled into reincarnation by accident, if anything is ever an accident. And when I got over into that, that opened up a whole new way of thinking, a whole new avenue that I hadn't been exposed to before, that the possibility of past lives. I heard about it, but in those days, the only book out was The Search for Bridie Murphy. There weren't any books out to tell the investigator or hypnotist how to do these things. So I more or less have written my own rules since the beginning, because there was nobody to tell you what to do. So from the 60s, when I got into the simple part, I put it on the back burner for 10 years because I had a husband in a wheelchair for 25 years. He was almost killed in the Navy, and I had a family to raise. So I put it on the back burner until the 1970s. 30 years ago, I began to pick it up again. And that's when I decided I wanted to explore the past life phenomena, because the time travel was absolutely fascinating. And then over the 30 years, I've developed my own technique that I'm teaching all over the world. This technique allows you to tap into the higher conscious, the oversoul, the higher mind that has all of the answers. You tap into that, you can have instantaneous healings. You can have the answer to any question you want and any information you want. So when that opened up, that's where all the information began to pour out that I'm using in the books now. But the Bridie Murphy case, it was about her going back and reliving, and she had dates and names and places they could research in Ireland. But they met with a lot of ridicule, and they tried to discredit the man who did it, Maury Bernstein, and they went to great lengths to discredit him because he was opening up a whole new way of thinking that had never been allowed before. So they tried to push it under the rug. But it was a book for its time, and it made people begin to think. But like I said, today it'd be too simple. All right, that was true Lou Farish, if you know him. Lou Farish had the UFO news clipping service, and he was an investigator. He still is an investigator for many years, and he was working with MUFON, and then he went off on his own. And this was in the 80s, is when he asked me if I would come in as a hypnotist on some of the cases, because the MUFON people in Arkansas said they had people who thought they had had abduction experiences, but they didn't have anyone who could do the sessions with them. They tried a psychologist, and the psychologist would get the person under and begin to talking to them. They would have them on board the craft, going into the experience, and the psychologist would wake them up. They'd say, I don't know what to do, I don't know what questions to ask. That's the worst possible thing you could ever do. That's not therapy. You start into something and then pull the person out of it. So when that happened, they said, would I come in and work with some of these people that they had? They said, we don't think it's going to bother you because you've been involved in the bazaar for so long. And it didn't, because I have a curiosity, and this kind of thing doesn't scare me. So I began working on the cases with Lou Farish, mostly. MUFON was investigating some of them with me, but mostly it was me and Lou Farish. And he's always been my confidant all these times. I could bounce cases off of him, and you need somebody you can discuss things with. So it's been now 25 years, I guess, we have been working together and discussing cases. And we put on the UFO conference in Eureka Springs, and it's now in its 20th year. So that's how long I've been working with Lou. And we've just we always kept the people anonymous and protected their privacy, but it helped to have someone that could discuss these cases with. So it's mostly been Lou, and he's the one I've been working with all this time. But I speak with UFO conferences and groups all over the world. Well, Bud Hopkins has been around for, that long. And Whitley Strieber came along later, after about the same time, but Bud Hopkins was doing it first. There was very few in those days that were doing it. In my early days, I wrote, my first books were dealing with past life regressions where the person was reliving history. And I hadn't got into these other things until, I guess I'd been doing it 10 years before I got into the UFO phenomena. But in Arkansas, there wasn't anybody. And very few people were doing it yet. Because, even the conference here, the one here in Laughlin, is only 17 years old. And remember, the first UFO conference we had in Arkansas, in Eureka Springs with Lou Farish, was 20 years ago. We only had less than 50 people there in one room. And it was mostly the people from Washington discussing the old Blue Book cases. So that was way back. Those people have probably died since then. But now it has grown to where we have about 500 people. We take over the whole convention center. So I've watched it grow and evolve over the